Welcome back to Le Zénith de Paris as I am joined by Cool from OMG, who has been playing this week with Team Ice. And of course, he gives some exceptional insight into the very first game we saw here with OMG versus SKT. OMG put up a very good fight. It was incredibly close. First question, if he looked at picks and bans from his team, did he think that they got the right picks and bans coming out of that?
这场比赛非常接近。就从班选来看的话，你觉得这场的双方的阵容怎么样？
我觉得两边OMG 和 SKT 应该都是做好了很好的准备，因为看他们的 BP， 他们办掉了 OMG 擅长的努鲁那一套体系嘛，然后还有灵药就是辅助锤石，特别就是表现特别亮眼，然后在队伍里面作用很大的锤石，还有一个就是办掉了我忘了，反正说 SKT 的话，他们就是因为办掉了锤石和努努嘛，还有一个就是他们可能不是很了解 OMG 的一个点，就是说他把卡萨丁给办了。其实这个也是因为两边来说都是比较神秘的点，所以说我觉得两边的阵容的话，还是 SKT 可能优势会大一点。但是我觉得 OMG 发挥得很好，因为这场比赛下来，我觉得说他们的失误比对面少很多，我觉得看的也非常的精彩。
So he thinks that both of the teams are well prepared. According to like SKT's bans, they banned mid, they banned Nunu, and they especially banned Thresh, which is very powerful in Allen's hand. So then both of the teams fought pretty well, and he thinks that OMG had less mistakes, and he thinks that both teams did a very good job.
Yeah, it was indeed a very, very close game. An extended Baron dance there, then the Jax getting killed, and they took an inhibitor and not Baron. What is, in his opinion, the thing that they could have done differently that would have won them the game?
这场比赛中有很多关键的点。所有的这些关键的精彩的时刻中，你觉得哪一个点，如果 OMG 做得更好的话，这场比赛就可以赢呢？
首先我说 SKT 有2个点让我比较印象深刻，就是说他发条就是被老鼠单秒的那个点非常关键，为 OMG 扭转了很多局势。然后还有一次是我觉得 SKT 有 Faker 的一个有2个致命的失误，就是说在大龙那边抓人的时候没有果断的把大开出来，他省了一个，然后那个机会被 OMG 抓住了，所以说2场比赛来说，这场比赛来说两边的话，我觉得SKT 还是比较失误比较多吧。
He thinks that one of the Baron fights when Faker made 2 mistakes. He forgot to use his flash, he forgot to burn his ultimate, so that OMG had a really good chance to capitalize on that. Because SKT made more mistakes, so he thinks if OMG can take every chance that SKT did not do very well, they could win.
Well, a central element in that is, of course, again, the matchup of Xiyang versus Faker in that mid lane, also our featured matchup. How does he think, judging by this game and these champions, that they match up individually versus each other?
这场比赛中，你觉得西洋玩的辛德拉和 Faker 玩的 Orianna 就是球女，哪一个表现得更好？
我觉得2位选手来说的话，表现的话肯定是西洋更加亮眼，因为Faker， 因为我自己玩中单的话，我看到 Faker 的有2个失误啊，或者说就是线上也，因为队员刚开始的时候有帮 Faker 创了很多优势，比如说来 gank， 然后他自己首先失误了，他没有把闪现点燃交出来，他又为了省一个技能，或者说就是没有跟队友连接上，这个是一个 很烂的失误吧。我觉得夕阳发挥比Faker 好很多。
He thinks that Xiang did a better job than Faker because Faker had a lot of teammates helping him set up the kill, set up the ganks. And sometimes Faker forgets to use his flash and ignite to get a kill, so he missed a lot of opportunities. So he thought that Xiang did a better job.
Okay, so Xiang did a very good job indeed. Actually, the entire team yet coming just a little up short. What does he think are the priorities for his team to go into that game to win it?
觉得下场比赛如果想赢的话，对 OMG 来说，最重要的事情是什么？
我觉得认真考虑一下贾克斯这个点吧，因为贾克斯虽然说他上一把的数据不是很好，但是他牵制了整个队伍，然后再考虑一下莫甘娜，然后莫甘娜这个英雄让他们打得有点畏畏缩缩，还有一个就是放平心态，其实输一场还好，我希望中国队加油。
He thinks that OMG needs to pay more attention on their top lane, their Jax, as well as their support Morgana. He also thinks that another most important thing is to adjust their attack attitude, adjust their how can I say, adjust their
mindset.
Yeah, so that losing one game doesn't matter. They still have a lot of chance.
All right, I absolutely do. It was a fantastic game one. We can only guess that all the other games will be fantastic as well. Thank you very much, Cool, for your insight.
Thank you.
Now we're going to send it back over to the guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Shocks. The teams are actually ready for Game 2 between OMG and SKT T1K, with the title of All-Star Champions hanging in the balance. SKT are 1-0 in the lead. Very briefly, I just want to get some thoughts on a couple of players. First of all, that was Xiang's first competitive loss on Syndra ever in the professional scene. I do feel that OMG were trading blow for blow with SKT, but I want to highlight Pomelo. I do feel that his Pantheon, especially in the laning phase, early stages, was not the strongest.
Yeah, so he definitely got counter jungled, and that's kind of part of the point of Kha'Zix. You're going to go and fight the enemy champion. That said, Pomelo likes picking Pantheon into Kha'Zix. He's okay with the matchup. And what he did more really is mid-game stuff. He ganked Jax a whole bunch, pushed him down in the mid-game. And the one thing I will point out as well is he pre-plans his engages. Every time a fight's about to start, he'll start channeling the ulti, see if the engage is there, and then cancel or follow through depending what happens. So he's right there with his team. I think it'll go better next game.
And of course, didn't get his hands on Nunu either. It was banned out. On the other side of the coin, SKT, they didn't necessarily get absolute control early on. You do feel they garnered themselves a lead, which was great. And Bengi on Kha'Zix. Monty, you know, I've been asking you questions all weekend, and we've really been talking him up. So for a little bit of a different angle, what was your take on Bengi in this particular match to Fisher?
Well, I'm going to join in with what Freak just said here. I mean, Bengi focused more on trying to counter jungle and shut down Pantheon early game here. Also because he knows when there's so limited time for a laning phase, when there's so many lane swaps, so many rotations going on, he won't be able to just set up a standard gank. So he focused more on counter jungling, on trying to find the right fights here. Going into the mid-late game, though, Pomelo managed to actually avoid him pretty well when it came to ganking the Jax late game, where Bengi, of course, had to stay with his team because he doesn't have the same mobility or global abilities like Pantheon.
All right. Well, as I said, guys, the two teams are actually ready in the lobby. So we're going to throw this one over to the caster desk. We're going to take us away. Let's see who comes out on top.
Thank you very much, Quick Shot and guys. So, big game 2 coming up here for both teams. If SK Telecom could take it, you would feel OMG would be demoralized. But if OMG can turn it around, I wonder if SK Telecom would start thinking, hang on a minute, this is happening all over again, because they've lost 2 series, 3-1 over in Korea. They don't want to do it again here.
Yeah, and I actually feel like this is the game that will decide whether it is a 3-0 or a 5-game series that could go either way. Because losing 2 games in a row when you had blue side both times, I feel like OMG will be done for.
Yeah.
And we are moving towards Champion Select. I'm expecting that Syndra is going to be added to the ban list here for SK Telecom. We're going to find out, though, as we get straight in there. Of course, OMG had side selection here for game number 2, and they decided that they wanted to play on the blue side. So SKT, red side, 2 games in a row.
And that's actually a big thing, because obviously they went for Twitch this time around. I'll be interested to see whether Twitch gets banned out. You can see LeBlanc and Syndra have been targeted already. No surprise there. I wonder if we're going to see that Twitch ban come through.
Yeah, Joe calls it right there. And this may just be SKT letting OMG play their hand, seeing if they can beat them at their best game, and then destroying them. They got to see the Syndra tricks they could pull, the stuns from kind of off screen, followed up by Twitch. All right, those are cute tricks, but we don't want to play against those anymore, says SKT, changing up their bans in game 2 despite being on the same side.
Morgana ban actually this time around for OMG, as well as the Jax as well. So interesting choices on that front. Obviously, those Black Shields always an annoyance, especially if they believe that Thresh is going to get banned and they want to end up with Leona once again.
And I gotta say, that Morgana ban is really good for OMG. When they lost their group stage game to Cloud9, they lost that a few times. Thresh is up.
As it is the Rat, there's a number of choices. It's going to be Alan's Thresh that they may well focus. It hasn't been locked in yet. This will give Twitch to Piglet. This could be a big, important change for OMG.
Yeah, that's the trade they had to make. There's a lot of concessions you make when you first pick a support right there, especially when they do fairly targeted bans. They really forced him onto that. When they banned Leona as well, they're saying, if you want your initiate support that's not Annie, you better take Thresh.
And we saw this, actually, OMG running similar. They ban out Morgana, they let Twitch through, sneaky on Cloud9, and that's exactly what they let through, and it absolutely destroyed the Rat this time around, despite being beaten by it in groups.
It's actually exactly what they did against Twitch. They put a Lulu on their own team, and then used him to just stop Twitch's assassinations and try and control him, and also make sure that Cloud9 couldn't build a protection comp around Twitch. It worked against Cloud9, but SKT is a different level of team.
Look at the next picks for the Shyvana, of course, for this top lane. We heard it earlier on about Trundle and being Impact's maybe go-to champion. Fits here perfectly against the Shyvana.
The main Trundle player in Korea, but that is a real early TF bit.
This was locked in against TPA. TPA, yes, it was.
He played it against Morning Lulu, so he's played this matchup.
Controlled fairly well.
Yeah, well, he got control, but he out-farmed and then built a bunch of damage on Twisted Fate. They used it for the overall map control. You combine the catch potential of a Twisted Fate with a Twitch. It doesn't matter how Lulu'd up people are with shields, you're still going to kill a person.
Well, as Balls said, I locked in Shyvana and they locked in Trundle. It's pretty much how it goes. Pomelo, though, back on Pantheon.
Whoa!
And it does mean Lucian. Whoa! This is the support they were talking about.
So it's not that secret.
Not really.
Because we've seen it in European LCS. Jay replayed it, I think, 2 or 3 times so far. Millennium finished bottom of the table. They didn't have the biggest success.
Yeah.
Mandu and SKT are a different beast, though.
This is secret for Korea and for SKT, but it's definitely not secret for Europe. I wonder how much European LCS OMG's been watching. There's a few little tricks when you're playing support Zilean. A lot of them have to do with junglers. If you did do a 2-buff start, you don't have to kill a small buff in between to hit level 3 and do really early ganks. If you bring, I think it's 1 or 2 experience quints. I'm not exactly sure on it, but that's one of the moves.
But the big difference here is that with Piglet on Twitch, he can get sped up to get out of there. He's got the ultimate that could come out of Zilean to keep him alive, or more to the point, give him a second life if he gets focused down. This is actually potentially a problem from OMG. I wonder how they're going to deal with this, and like you said, whether they've come up against it in the LPL.
Yeah, and this is the moment, too, when you pull something crazy like this out. We just said this is probably the game that decides whether it's a 3-0 sweep or it goes all the way to 5. So it's not like this is just an SKT, yeah, we're confident, we're going to show off support Zilean. This is them saying, yeah, support Zilean is exactly what we're going to do. With Twitch, they can do the stealth with the bombs on top of them for an even bigger bomb. You never know.
We'll see how it works out as the champions stride onto the Rift. We will still want to know what your predictions are over on Twitter. OMG win or SKT win with the hashtag to @LOL Esports. It's a big game. Everybody saw the last match. This could go either way, and it's a very close one. Game 2 getting underway here at the All-Star in Paris. It's the matchup we all wanted to see, honestly, if we're all honest with ourselves coming into this one. Everybody would love to have seen a European or an American team here in the finals, but OMG SKT, I think, is the best finals everyone could have hoped for.
It's definitely the match that was expected to be seen as well. Both these teams coming in huge favorites for this event, and they definitely delivered in Game 1.
Twisted Fate for Faker, second time that we're seeing it here. Second time against the Lulu as well, running the Ghost and Flash as we've seen from them before in the past. So, what we're going to see. It's OMG that are making the first real moves of this one. We saw it in the last game where they kind of traded positions, but look at this mass recall coming out for the Chinese side.
Yeah, they just ran in to get that deep ward. Level 1 jungle control. In a best of 5 like this, they have to change up their level 1 strategy every single game to avoid becoming predictable.
So quite clever, because if they were spotted going in there, which I believe they were, SKT Telecom now thinking, okay, they're going for the red buff. Should we try and counter it? Should we try and be defensive? They've got no vision.
Yep.
And of course, you can see OMG, they're now en masse, going down towards the blue buff. Or no, they actually think they're countering the red, and well, SKT are not there.
This could very well lead to a collision of some kind early on in the game. Whenever you have a team actually fooled at where you are, you potentially get people running into each other, but because they are on opposite sides, no fights today.
No, definitely not. SKT headed to check out there in case someone does come around, and the only real person that could do that is Shiyung, but honestly, is he going to go blindsided into a bush? Wow. No, he's not going to. SKT here just sit around. They're going to go to the blue, see that there's nothing actually there. There's nobody actually there, and they'll be able to take this blue for free.
And there's a couple things we have to track to see how the adaptations have been made from game 1. There was extremely early ganks onto Shiyung in that 1v1, because as Shiyung goes, OMG goes. If he gets shut down, they lose games straight outright. And also, Pomelo fell very far behind in the early game. He's going to have to do more to help them not fall behind here, because Twisted Fate will snowball the game very easily, and the experience differential is going to be much greater this game if they do fall behind because of that Zillion passive.
So SKT around, they've taken away the enemy blue buff, they're taking away their red buff. As of yet, SKT's blue buff hasn't been touched, but you can see Pomelo is now there, and will be taking that one away. So we'll see whether this results in one of those 4-0 splits, or whether they try something different. As of yet, looking like it may well do.
We've gone here, and they're going to surely go down onto that tower where the AD carry and support are already pushing. If we look from SKT's side of the map, on the top lane, the duo lane there, they are not pushing as heavy as what we're seeing from OMG.
And this has been the story of how these teams play the lane swap game. They don't do the fast push, they instead deny the top laner even more so, and make farming more of a priority for them. They try and starve farm more so than the regions we're familiar with.
Faker just warded out the blue buff there, so they're aware of what's going on. You can see OMG using the buddy system, as I believe you've coined the term, whereas Bengi is actually going on his own, which means Impact will potentially fall behind, while Gogoin has been gaining that extra experience. He's backed off, though. We're not going to see any 4-0 splits this time around.
And it's so curious, Pomelo with the very early gank, this maybe just has to burn flash, you'd think.
Yeah,
Ghost instead.
Yeah, Ghost to get out of this one, and actually turns around, puts a bit more damage back on towards Shiyung. Bengi was also coming around there as well, so he was already relatively safe, but one of these summoner spells going down, as happened for Shiyung, he doesn't have an ignite in case they need to finish anyone.
One thing I noticed with Faker running once this Flash Ghost TF is he's much more free to use his summoner spells. He might actually flash for this aggressive move.
He does, flashes in there, he has the damage, is it going to be enough? The voice not in there. Pomelo comes around, jumps on towards him. Pomelo actually is going to pay the price here and had to flash out of it. That's a big mistake.
And a big part of that early game jungle start for SKT is the fact that Bengi is ahead of Pomelo, so if they do have that 2v2 in the mid lane that people talk about so much, it will go in the favor of SKT.
And there is the first story of the game actually going down in favor of OMG in the bottom lane. So we'll see. They are recalling right now. Surely going to be headed towards that top lane to bring it back to a 2v2. Meanwhile, Pomelo back towards mid. Of course, Shiyung as well coming in with a second Doran's ring and boots of speed there. Just to touch on the AD carry. Son, he's got himself the Vamp Scepter as they are headed up towards that top lane. And there is the vote. It's still, as it was in game number 1, very heavily SKT favored at 84-16.
Yeah, the fans sticking very much with the analyst desk on this one. It's still only Freak standing on his own, trying to desperately put those Twitter votes in. He's hitting all his followers and seeing what he can do. Pomelo, though, in this mid lane, is waiting to see if he could create something on Faker. No flash or ghost on either mid laners right now. So this is the opportunity, and you can see Bengi already moving back to lane as well.
And part of OMG's strategy so much when they're successful is not only isolating Shiyung into 1v1s, it's denying the other jungler experience.
Hello.
That just hasn't been possible against SKT.
He's in trouble.
Level 4 versus level
no flash. He's got no flash. He's in trouble here. He's trying to use the stealth of the bushes, but he's not going to get it. Bengi's going to keep on following. Oh, that glitter lance. Oh, what a brilliant pillar from Impact. Stopped him dead in his tracks, and that was an easy first blood once again for Bengi.
Cuts him straight off, and that is just the beginning of OMG's problems. They are down in the gold. They are losing in experience, oftentimes because of TF and Zillion, but giving up first blood as well is trouble.
Speaking of TF, level 6 has been hit now for him. Bengi having that advantage over Pomelo, and they are going to go maybe for a dive. He's only level 5. There's no wild growth. Faker picks up the kill. They're executing these moves smooth as butter.
It's like the first game was a bit of a warm-up there for SKT. What a move right there, but Impact getting low.
Impact almost going to go down from this one. Flashing from Go-Going, needs a couple more ticks of damage. Impact flashes away, but of course there's no tower in there behind him. The burnout going to come back on here. Impact running for his life, but Go-Going brings the first kill in here for OMG.
How smooth was that play right there, because he destroyed him in a 1v1. That's exactly what Go-Going needs to do in this situation. Finally, a top laner's not going to get denied against SKT.
That was butter-like, that's what that was. Right, though, we could see the ward coverage from SK Telecom. And I just spotted out there, Pengi, he actually went down towards that bottom and put the ward very early. Oh, Young's in trouble once again, locked up by the stun guard. Taste of fear is enough from Bengi. There should be another wild card to come through, but have they gone too far? Bengi takes 2 tower hits. They don't get the kill this time, but it's only a matter of time, I feel. There's a big differential building between Faker and Young now.
Yeah, considering that mid lane has gone completely one-sided with a twisted Fate pick too. TF's not the type of laner that you think will decimate a mid lane, but because he's gotten so much support from Bengi, he's really shutting down Young. We talked about how Lulu isn't the same early laner that she once was before the nerfs, and SKT is just really exploiting that fact.
And credit to Bengi, he's coming behind. I say, is that credit to Bengi, or is Young pushed up a little bit too far a couple of times here? Because Bengi's got right around the backside of him both times on that. Here comes the hook, lands out from Alan Pumandu, down to half HP, but he's level 6, so he doesn't die anyway.
He immediately dropped the aggro right there as soon as he pinged 6 off the dying minion. At least the lanes have evened out a little bit into standard fare. That would be good for OMG normally if their mid lane wasn't getting destroyed so much.
Yeah, Faker pulls those yellow cards out, no problem there. Mandu pulled in this time around, takes a lot of damage, but as you mentioned, there is the ultimate. Alan's taking some spray and pray damage from Piglet or a rat-a-tat-tat, whichever you'd prefer. But again, it's another easy life back from Mandu with that ultimate.
Pushed him clean out of lane, but they try to catch Faker. He's down both summoners.
Bengi coming in from the side, though. He's going to actually pop the ultimate. They may go for this one. Young down to half HP. Pomelo is there as well. Wild Growth is available should they need it. They try and turn around. Faker's only at half as well. In the end, they go low, but they don't go down.
This game is so close to being completely out of control, actually, for OMG. They fall behind. They fell behind in the first game, and they're falling behind by a much larger margin in this one. They have to pick something up right now.
Impact came trundling his way up through that jungle, has found the pink ward as well, so he's going to take that down, and he's still laying in wait, actually. Bengi's going to clear out that blue buff for Faker, which will, of course, keep that Destiny on a much shorter cooldown. We've yet to see it being used. It's only a matter of time before he jumps across to Young. Needing the help there to get that blue buff down. Pomelo taking a bit too many damage, too many hits.
They invested so much just to get him the blue buff, and he's still getting obliterated in that mid lane. Yeah. Really going in. This is their sole advantage right now, is going on that Shyvana.
Stopped him, though. Dead in his tracks. Impact not backing away. Faker's coming in support. Destiny comes down. Here they go. This is why yellow card pulled out. Going now in trouble. That ultimate is about to run out. He's got no support coming. And that is a clean kill for Faker.
And just like SKT knows that Go-Going is ahead, they immediately go to punish, and it is Faker that has won that mid lane matchup, and they have taken away OMG's strategy.
And you mentioned earlier that he's not scared to burn his summoner spells here. We saw the Ghost in the mid lane before as they were trying to kill off Young. Funnily enough, he's had this cycle where when one's been down, he's basically been almost off cooldown as he uses the other one. So he's always got either Ghost or that flash to actually get himself maybe out of trouble, or as is more the case, has been the case here, to chase someone down for the kill.
And it's how he played TF against Morning as well at the start of the group stage. I really like it because it's allowing him to make more plays. When TF is there, he gets an advantage just because he's an extra person. And especially in this series where we knew there was going to be more mid lane ganks and more action, he needs that added escape spell just to make sure he keeps himself safe. It's working brilliant.
Well, Going tries to get the ward out there, but he can see he's now got Piglet in his lane just off at the side. Pumandu, oh, Bengi coming down. It's going to be the Dragon. Started off, and Bengi, he's on point with those Void Spikes, actually. He caught both members of OMG in that last fight, then happened with the Void Spikes to slow them down, and Xiong is pretty helpless right now. 30 CS already behind, 2 kills behind as well. Is a big differential right now in OMG and SKT.
And as far as control of first Dragon, OMG seems to never have any. They have their AD carry up top right now against a top laner who has teleport. SKT could have actually forced a Dragon right now, but OMG may be making a rotation down to this bottom Dragon to force a 5v5. It would be the moment where they try to control something because they know they're falling hopelessly far behind in this game.
Not even sure they can contest it, that's the problem.
Yeah.
They're in a dangerous situation. It would have to be a very well played and executed maneuver to try and turn it around. With the duo lane down the bottom here, you can see that Sun and Alanana rotating down to join Going. We have got level 6 on Pomelo, so we will start seeing some of those man drops being happening.
Cancelled.
Well, maybe cancelled as well, that's true. But they need to be careful still, Piglet and Pumandu. They are still very fragile, that pair.
Faker pushing heavy again on this middle. That's going to be right up on the turret. They ping there the position of Lulu, and we can see that 2 of them, the bottom lane, moving into that lane. And look at that Piglet. Going to stealth himself up. There's the Destiny. There's the bomb on his head as well. Here comes a stun. It's actually a hold towards Faker. That was a great little turnaround from OMG.
That's exactly how you play Thresh against TF. You run farther behind your AD carry, and then you prep the hook for when he comes in. Maybe an ultimate top. He's coming in.
He's going for Impact. He's going to land on towards him. The stun comes down. Impact's already been in trouble once against Going, but it's a great flash. Dragon Descent will follow through. There's no support, remember. Destiny was already used. Going tries to turn the corner. The Pillar of Phil will be back up. Pillar of Ice, sorry. Impact gets scored out. That's a good flash and stun from Pomelo. And they get themselves a kill back on the board, but they lost the bottom turret nonetheless.
Exactly. The stack that was in the bottom lane from SKT remained after they made that play top lane. It's a kill for an objective. SKT takes the objective. That's more important right now.
And now they say, okay. There's a Spartan chant again as SKT already well underway with the Dragon. Half HP on that one. More damage coming in from Faker from the side. This is not an option for OMG. Too slow to react and get over to that one. And that is another bit of gold. 4,000 is the difference. Impact comes back into lane. He's like, I got a Blade of the Ruined King now, mate. I'm going to kill you. Going has to walk off.
He's going to have to get going is what he's doing.
I'm not sure if Koreans say mate that often.
I don't think they say mate too often either. Northern America, actually, strangely enough. It's just us in Europe. Nevertheless, you know, Pomelo, obviously, while he helped create that kill in that top lane, you've got to feel with that excellent death sentence Alan landed and Sun, they put so much damage back down on Piglet. If he'd have been down in that bottom half of the jungle, he may have been able to create a bigger play down there.
You could absolutely think that because it's true. The one thing with SKT as well is Pumandu is exceedingly squishy on Zilean right now. He built the tier of the Goddess. It's just because SKT has so much overall map pressure, he has gone completely unpunished. It was just that one time he had to burn his ultimate in order for them to get a turret, basically, in the top lane. The support pick is working out quite well, and here comes the Piglet. This is a surprise.
Coming in, Piglet's there, we saw it last game. This time around, it's Xiong on the opposite end. He flashes through, there's the kill, rat-a-tat-tat, all over Xiong.
Twitch is king right now, it seems, in these games. He always finds a way to make that play in the mid lane. Bengi also trying to make a play with the help of some vision.
Yeah, I think he's going here. He's going to get stunned out. There it is. He gets the Dragon Descent. Oh, he pounced away, but the bomb's on him. He's going to hit both him and Pomelo, and that's going to be a double kill for Faker.
Uh-oh. That is bad news for OMG right now. This is SKT with a 6,000 gold lead at 15 minutes. Last game, OMG had a good early game composition against SKT, who punished them a little bit. And then because they had good rotations and movement in the mid game and good team fighting skills, OMG could come back in it. This time, SKT has punished them even harder with a better early game. And honestly, with Twitch and Trundle, they might even beat them late too.
Very, very difficult comeback. And look at this, Impact up at the top. Oh, you want to teleport? Bam, your turret's gone. And now Impact going to try and run away from Pomelo. He's put down the pillar of ice there. Bengi waiting across the side, but he's not very healthy. He's got the Blade of the Rune King already used. He's used his ultimate here. He's got no flash. Bengi actually showing himself, which a little bit dangerous.
Oh,
you
here
may
comes the
think
support.
about. Yeah, the rest of the team, that's the difference. Coming around the side, couldn't quite get there though.
As much as Spartan Chants come in, they're down 7,000 gold. It just keeps getting worse and worse for OMG. They commit so much to kill an 0-3 Trundle, who's going to be big late game anyway because of his ultimate. This is the guy they need to kill.
Well, they managed to get the flay down on him and a lot of damage, but Sun's in trouble now. The lantern having to be used just at the right time. Piglet was there to support his mid lane.
And he only needed really to show himself there, did Piglet, as he came through. And well, they don't want to fight him at this stage. 144 CS, only the single kill, but we've seen what happens when he comes out of the ambush and just destroys you over and over again. Last time around, it was Sun that had that one. Oh, this is dangerous.
Oh, hello.
He's not watching, he's going to go down.
Big move by Going and a rare mistake by Faker. This could be a push for OMG up the mid lane. They have the numbers advantage. They need to get these turrets down.
They get the first turret, but will they get a second? The hook's not going to land, and the rest of SKT now coming in. Impact's going to get bounced out here. Impact will go down as well. It's a double for OMG,
Zillion.
but they have to back away. In comes Bengi jumping in there. Zillion will regenerate, as you say, coming in towards him. Bengi gets taken down a second time. Impact hooked in. He's going to go down, and that is a good turnaround. That's a great culling as well on Mandu. You mentioned how squishy he was. He's going to go down. No, the second hit's not enough. But the turret could go down now. OMG back away.
It's still 3 kills for OMG, and they're way more important than you would first think because of the Zillion and the lead SKT had. These things level up OMG in the context of the fight. Impact actually didn't go down because of the Zillion ult, which gave SKT a little bit of added confidence trying to go in. But Going was so strong, and he had them on that fire trail. They took so much damage chasing the Shyvana that it got turned very quickly by the Glitter Lances and the shields from OMG. Great fight for them, being down 7,000 gold.
Oh, that was so close there at the end. Mandu splashing behind his own turret. Already used his ultimate, so didn't go down. That's the important thing for him. 6-6 in kills. We can see in the top left, 1.5 minutes until the next dragon comes into play. Last time around, SKT took that one. OMG was slow to react to it. Let's say that they didn't get there in time. They moved in that general direction, but it had already gone by the time they even came into a position of thinking about even challenging for it. But to be honest, they're 5,000 gold behind. They could really do with a dragon.
But these are the mistakes we have seen SK Telecom make it. This is the exact same things that have been happening over in the Champions and LOB. It's why they got knocked out when sometimes they do get ahead. A little cocky, and why not? They're the reigning world champions, but they've got to be careful against the opposition. OMG, and not to be discredited here, they are the #1 team over in China. They've dominated the LPL league, so they will know how to close a game out, or more to the point, how to chase a game when they fall behind.
And they've had to do a lot of chasing games over in the LPL. They only lost 3 games overall, but do not have a good early game strategy.
You know, before that happened, once again, Pomelo was 2 levels behind Bengi. But they turn those kills around, and suddenly he's back, level 10 v level 10. And these are the problems. But they're going deep on this one.
Well, there goes the experience from, the stun card lands and the Twitch.
Oh, he's dead.
That's the danger of the Twisted Fate in there as well. With Zillion, Ghost on, gets the speed boost from Zillion. You saw he ran 4,000 miles an hour through the jungle and was able to get that stun card in, and then an easy kill follows. This is going to be in a turret. We can see the SKT have forced OMG completely away from that one after the kill, and that will be their 5th of this game.
And just like game 1, this is a big difference. Oh, this is going to be a multi-kill right now. Alan going to get locked up. He goes down to Bengi. They're going to leap on through. A quick slice on towards Pomelo, gets himself a second, and he leaps out with the reset.
Just so much power right there from SKT, knowing when they can get the catches, and the chase of the Twisted Fate plus Twitch and all the speed they get from the Zillion. It's really working out quite wonderfully. Another look at this one. It was just the stealth Twitch into a slow, and TF gave them no way to hide, really. They had to burn everything just to stop the TF, that they couldn't necessarily peel the Kazakhs that wanted to jump right on their face. Too much kill pressure. They get the kills and the dragon.
And there's the dragon that we were talking about. OMG, as much as they would have needed this one, well, they definitely can't now. They pretty much whitewashed down in that bottom lane. 5 turrets down, second dragon of the game going over. to SK Telecom. And I tell you what, look at the scoreboard up top there. We are close to a 10,000 gold lead here, 20 minutes into the game.
And you know, when I was looking back, you know, we were doing research obviously for this event and back at Worlds. We watched OMG and we saw there's a man drop. It's not going to land actually on impact. He should get away for now. No, dodges death sentence. There's a 4-man pylon. They're going to come into him. What a fantastic pillar of ice. Stops 4 members of OMG dead. Back to my point. Wow. That's cheeky, that's for sure.
He's going to keep going because
the rest of his team are there.
Piglet wants to try and catch something. Even just a couple of them, they know where OMG is. That's 5 of them. This would be a 5v4 if they decide to close. Instead, they just take something else.
Taking a terror. And this is what I was about to talk about, is the fact that OMG, and when we watch Royal as well, very similar situation is when they go for the kills, they generally don't push an objective afterwards. It's just simply a case of we caught this guy out. SKT, every time they go for a kill, an objective will follow. And this is another dead.
They're trying to call him down. Piglet did open up in a bad situation.
He bit off more than he could chew there, going into 2 of them. He had Zillion with him though, thinking they could have a go at this one as Bengi not quite getting in range. Zion going low.
Where's Faker going? Where's he going? He's not going too deep on this one. He's going in the base. He's going in the base. Let's have a look at Faker. Throws out the wild card of Sun in the base. Oh, he's in trouble though. He's got a little bit too deep on this one, buddy. That tower's going to take you down. And Alan now, can he throw the death sentence back on Bengi? No, not quite there. They're going to chase on towards him instead. Pomelo's going to try and get away. He didn't get knocked to the side, but he's going to get interrupted anyway. And Bengi gets another.
That is a bit of a cleanup crew from SKT. They do only get 2 kills off of that one, but also a turret. And I feel like the death was Faker's own fault for that. He didn't need to go that deep into the face. Nice play by Alan to stop him down, but it is now 10,000 gold at 22 minutes. Nearly insurmountable, I'd have to say.
We see a little bit of that air of, a little bit of cockiness.
Arrogance.
Here from SKT. The fact that, you know, Piglet's diving in there 1 versus 2, although he had Zillion coming in as well, which you can argue may have pulled off, been pulling off with Impact surviving a 1v4 and then having a bit of a dance under the tower. Faker going right inside the base.
Well, listen though, mentally, that's how you demoralize a team if you're trying to close them out quickly. We have seen, especially in Korea, a lot of teams, KT Bullets come to mind, they go up 2-0 in a series, drop the next 3. That absolutely does happen. And if you can get inside the minds of the enemy, like after SKT beat Fnatic in Game 1, they were in their heads. They're going to try and get in OMG's heads here.
Bullets did it against SKT, if you remember. Back, which is what got SK Telecom at the World Finals in the first place. Bengi caught out, but he gained the revive on him. He's going to come back to life. I'm not sure if SK Telecom can corral around him in time. He bounces away. He gets caught out, though. That should be a kill. It is Sun that gets it. Now they're on towards Faker. Chasing him down. Pulls out. No, not the stun card.
Piglet wants to open.
This time around. And you can see Piglet comes around. Rat-a-tat-tat's not going to be enough to save you against 5 members. Bounced in the air by the Wild Ghost, but he's still alive. Hanging on. The life steal's going to take him down. Gets himself a double. Faker stand comes back around on towards him. Going gets locked up. It's another kill. Faker on towards Sun. Red card pulled out. Gets onto Alan. He's going for another. Can he get the triple? Oh, the red not enough. He thought he stole it. And it's going to be a clop from Impact. It's Pumandu's bomb that finishes him and gets the ace for SK Telecom T1K.
He pulled out the support. He also gets the kill. It's a delayed ace. It was a desperation fight by OMG. And SKT is rolling down the mid lane.
There is that 10,000 more. It's a 30,000 gold lead by now. Going straight in on towards the inhibitor turret. Not going to last long whatsoever. 10 seconds until the last person spawns in. So SKT want to be a little bit wary about this one. Are they just going to turn and go straight towards Baron?
They very well could. They're a little bit low on mana, and they're not the type of team to let the game go at Baron. But honestly, with a 14,000 gold lead, 24 minutes in, I wonder if a Baron plus ace would even turn it at this point.
Well, they're trying to chase down Faker.
They're not going to go for it.
They are going for it.
They're going for Faker.
Coming in. Going wants Faker. Everybody wants a kill on Faker. We saw Paul saying it was worth when he got that kill on Faker. The stun card comes in now. Coming around the side is going to be Shi Young. He absolutely wants the kill on Faker. Flashes for it. Worth.
Question now is, with Bengi kind of being in the base, do they try a desperation 5v4 Baron? There's a Twitch that would open up and probably get a pentakill if he actually does it at the right point, but it is honestly worth the try.
They know where Twitch is coming from, though.
Yeah, that Baron's going down real fast. It could actually be a smite war. SKT would almost want to go in immediately because This Baron's going down faster and faster.
Bengi from the side. Alan got the bomb on his head. That Baron is so very low. Bengi closing in. There's a lot of damage coming. Piglet is there. It goes to OMG. Is that going to be bad for SKT? They've still got a lot of damage coming out of Piglet. There's 2 juicy targets for him in there. There's the jump over the wall. Good playback from Alan, but not sure he'll get him away from the bug, who lands a slow and finishes off the kill. Meanwhile, San here being chased down. Impact coming from the side. One chomp should surely do it. Get slowed down.
Nice shot.
Cheeky from San. This is going to be a kill for Impact. And, well, the man drop was cancelled there by Pomelo. Kind of cleaned up. They did get the Baron, though, which is a...
They had to try.
Yeah.
That is the only thing. When you're down 15,000 gold 25 minutes into the game, and a Baron opens up because you kill the person, great call by OMG, but of course, SKT is a good team. They chased after him. They got to open up on 5 with the rat-a-tat-tat. Everyone scattered, and it was just a matter of how many could SKT chase down. Turns out 4 out of 5.
Yeah, very good fight. SK Telecom once again coming out on top. 20 kills to 11, only 26 minutes into this game. And as you mentioned, gigantic gold lead. 7-2 in turrets with that inhibitor down. This is only surely going one way. SK Telecom could try and demoralize OMG here. OMG clearly grasping at straws. They may have to try and take this time now to actually discuss what the hell they're going to do next, because this is not how Game 1 went. Game 1 was very close. This one has not even been remotely close at any point, if I'm honest.
Well, the thing is, in these games 1 and 2, Faker has been able to pick exactly what he wants against Shiyung's mid laner. They wait until they reveal, and then they pick afterwards. That dynamic will be changed for Game 3, and considering how pivotal OMG is in the strategy, it really is, as Shiyung goes, OMG goes. Game 1, he's stuck with Faker. The game was close. He actually outperformed him, and it was the rest of SKT who barely came out the victor. This game, though, because of the camp by Bengi, all the ganks, they killed Shiyung twice before he hit level 6. And the game reflects that. It is completely one-sided to the side of SKT T1K.
See, looking down the items there, 4 Piglet, Blade of the Ruin King, Ghost Blade, Static Ship, got another BF sword in there as well. Over the other side, for Sun, there is literally 2 items in there, and we see there masses of damage coming in. OMG were trying to set something up, but you've got a Twisted Fate against you who has got pretty much everything he needs to just wreck faces and turrets at this point in the game.
Yeah, he is on full item build. He actually built that Lich Bane very early on for the 4.6 patch, but Alan, is he going to try and create a play here? You know, Thresh was locked in as that first champion. They value this champion so highly for Alan, but you've got to wonder, surely Piglet on Twitch compared to Sun on Chips. Bengi caught out actually. They're not going to create anything off that one. They do try and follow it through, but they just force him away. The calling continues to force him away, take it very low. Sun's not going to follow through though. But I was about to say, I'm going to ignore my point. Piglet caught out. Where's he going to go? He's caught his vision, not enough though. And SKT going to turn this fight around.
Oh, Faker coming in from the side, Impact there as well. San actually got a wild growth on him, but they're able to rip him to pieces. Going tries to get in as well, but they're just going to be chased down here. It's Faker that's doing all the damage at the backside. There's a double kill for Trundle, and now they're going to collapse in onto the Shyvana. He is the last man standing here for OMG. There is the ace. Faker picks up the kill, and that will be game number 2 going over to SKT.
5-0, 25 kills in 29 minutes. SKT makes a statement in Game 2.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. The winner, very much SK Telecom this time around. The reigning world champions are stamping their authority all over the All-Stars right now. Is there anyone that can stop them? OMG, they're 2-0 now. SK Telecom so far are running a perfect All-Stars. They are now 8-0. In this tournament.
It's been pretty darn impressive for these guys, and they want to dominate here so they can, quote, get their confidence back. The last time they won a World Championship event such as this, even though this one's a little bit smaller than the Worlds was, they went for a perfect season over in Korea. They are clearly a team with immense talent, best in the world and defending champions for a reason. They're showing many reasons why they're the better team in the first 2 matches.
And we had the worry of well, game number one was very, very long where OMG had a real chance. Did losing that in the end demoralize them. The way this game went, you could argue it looked that way. Of course, we can never say for sure what's going on in the heads of all of these players, but it looked that way. And now it becomes somehow even harder, from my opinion, to pick yourself up because, let's be honest, it's hard to take one game off SKT, but to do 3 in a row.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure through exactly what SKT was planning in these first games, and maybe like a metaphor. You always see in movies where there's that really huge guy and a smaller guy in a fight, and he lets him get the first punch just to show him how it doesn't hurt. Is that what SKT did to OMG in the first game, giving them all of their champions and still beating them? And they're like, all right, now we're going to fight you, ban Syndra, and destroying them in game 2.
It's kind of what they did to Fnatic, that's for sure, through the group stage and then the semi-finals. You got to wonder, though, for OMG, the same problem has persisted throughout these 2 games, and it has persisted throughout the LPL. They fall behind at the start. Pomelo has every single time fell behind because he's desperately trying to fight Seung in the mid lane to help him out. Seung's getting picked on by Bengi, and Bengi is finding opportunities to jump on him every single time. He's had Kha'Zix both games so far. Is that a potential ban?
It might have to be, but if we specifically look at what SKT did this time, it was all about exploiting the weakness OMG has presented. It's the weak early game, so they give someone who gives them more experience and then a TF to try and snowball around the map. Once you fall behind early game, finish it. They can't deal with that. Again, maybe the Kha'Zix is that because he's the one who stops the jungler, which is the creative everything else. They're in such a tough spot, Joe.
And again, 3 bans is all you have against a team like SKT. We've seen already that, okay, they left the Twitch open, but they went for Thresh first because they banned the Morgana instead, and that just kind of messed with them even more because they're like, okay, you take the Thresh, because the thing is, if you lose that early game and you're already behind, Thresh is going to engage, and what? You're going to die anyway in a team fight because you fell behind.
If we think all the way back, it was completely planned, the Leona ban, into letting them get Thresh because they didn't care about how many supports are banned because they had the Zillion in their back pocket. It's what they've been able to save until this moment because they've been so dominant in the group stages and in the semifinals. They didn't have to pull it out until now.
Well, 2-1-15 was Zillion's. Fantastic stuff. 7-1-7 again for Twitch. 7-1-5, I believe, was Sun's Twitch. So
yeah.
Got to be a potential ban, but we're going to see the real guys over at the analyst desk to figure out what will happen next.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. The question of what will happen next, I'm pretty sure we all know. Welcome back to the analyst desk. Earlier today, we did talk about Bengi and Pomelo. Just before we went into that match, we were highlighting the 2 junglers. I do want to point out that Pomelo has given up first blood to Bengi in both games of the series, both times playing Pantheon, and both times Bengi getting his hands on that Kha'Zix. It's something that SKT have first picked on the first rotation on both sides of red, so we'll have to see what they do in this next game. The composition SKT ran now, vastly different from game 1, I would say. Heavily focusing around finding picks, running people down. Monty, what was your thoughts on the champions and seeing Zillion as well?
Well, the Zillion pick was very good in this situation, and if we take a look at SK Telecom T1K's composition, it's actually very similar at its core to the composition they used in the 1 game they won against Samsung Ozone in the quarterfinals of Champions Spring. Of course, Ozone went on to win that best-of-5 3-1, but it was the TF and the Twitch combination that really made the big difference because you are able to make plays and picks so easily you don't know where it is. The Zillion comes in, especially with the speed boost that he gives, and it's nearly impossible to run away from. You've got the Twitch, a ghosting TF, and potentially a speed-boosted invisible Twitch, coming in. There's no way you can prevent yourself from dying effectively. And so as long as SK Telecom has a strong early laning phase, there's really no recourse for OMG because they're going to get chased around the map.
And we really saw the difference, from teams here. Also, last game, SKT had the late game comp. They took it easy early game. OMG was in the game, actually got a lot of kills. This time around, when there was a strong early game comp here and strong pick comp from SKT, OMG had absolutely no chance. And that's what we saw. And to be fair, if SKT can just pick the same thing again here, obviously now they're on blue side, so they can't do the same thing where they give you 1 of the strong picks and take 2 of them. So possibly banning away the Kha'Zix or Twitch, but we'll see.
It almost felt like SKT was a little less serious here. If you have a Zillion support and he's allowed to go Spell Thieves into tier, first 2 items, and then survive. And while I agree with what the Zillion offered, but then in my mind, Karma does exactly the same and is way more conventional and offers even better poke early. So I think it doesn't matter what Pumandu would have picked. The cornerstones of those composition really was like the TF Twitch, and then just the way they played it out. They just played it smarter. And every game we've seen so far, OMG keeps tunnel visioning on these kills, but they don't calculate in what am I gonna do with this kill. Am I gonna get an objective off the back of that one? No, we're just gonna go keep killing, and then we'll look around. Can we get something? Yeah, there's a tower, but somebody's on battle lane, so let's go kill that guy instead.
Not thinking far enough ahead.
Yeah, I want to actually respond to your point real quick, because it seems like the way that the Chinese teams are playing actually is they'll just get kills when there's kills to power up their individual members, because the objectives they play for are timed on the map. It's blue buffs and dragons. Okay, yes, they could get turrets, and I think that's actually correct that OMG could look for turrets more often, but the objective these guys go for is, well, we're timing our cooldowns based off of dragon respawn or blue buff respawn, and that's the objective gameplay they go for. And then you were talking about the comps playing out properly, and there was so much focus placed on the mid lane and getting Faker ahead that, like, yeah, TF gets to go roam for free, right? They already bolster the source of the global, and Faker can do everything he wants.
Yeah, not only that, just to talk about the Zilean pick a little bit more, if you know that OMG is going to be going after these kills, and you've got a couple of globals on the side of SK Telecom, yeah, Karma's great. Of course, you can disengage with the speed, but part of that, too, is that you can instantly revive somebody if the Pantheon comes in, and then the double globals will come in and turn the tables while that person revives. So I think there is actually a very interesting logic to picking the Zilean against the playstyle of OMG.
So I want to talk a little bit more about some of OMG's players. Let's start with Xiang rather. On champions like Ziggs and Syndra, he is mechanically equal on par with Faker, I would say, at that level of control on those specific champions. However, when we've seen him on Lulu, for example, I'm thoroughly uninspired. He doesn't have anywhere near the same level of impact. Of course, yes, Lulu's not the same level of play. You don't have as many options to make plays. But regardless, I never felt like his Lulu was super positive or super reinforcing for his team. Deficio, what's your take on Xiang and the different champions he plays?
Well, so it seems a bit, I wouldn't say he's holding the team down in the case he can only play certain champions, but the whole playstyle of OMG is built around him winning his mid lane. And for him, when he wins the mid lane, they can then go into the enemy jungle, they can set up picks, whatever they want, go for objectives. However, as you just said, whenever he's not playing Ziggs or Syndra, he's falling behind in CS, he's maybe even dying in lane. Link beat him as well with Nidalee on CS in the game, Cloud9 versus OMG. Like, you're never supposed to do that. And it just seems like he needs to expand his champion pool. And in general, he needs to have more options to play. I mean, you look at Faker, he can play Assassins, he can play, you know, late game champions, he can play everything. Xiang, he can pretty much only play these two champions, and if they're banned away, or at least one of them is banned away and the Ziggs is not really an option for him, he's not doing anything.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and actually I'm glad you talked about Ziggs at the very end there, because I think Ziggs is actually super key for them, because it actually, I don't want to say like hard counters, but it's very, very well against SKT playstyle, where SKT predictably shows up to a big minion wave on a turret. And we actually saw in SKT's game against OMG, it was Ziggs to my knowledge, right? They would stop a push, the team would group up because SKT would stay for the second wave and then just get engaged on. And that was something that worked reliably well for OMG in that game. They nearly won that back in the group stage. So I do want to see Ziggs actually come in. That's actually my expectation here in Game 3. But also, again, I want to bounce off you and say, yeah, I would like to see Xiang pick up another fighting-type mid laner, someone that just is a damage focus, because that seems to be the high-impact champions that work for the team.
Aside from picks and strategy, I just wonder what the morale is like now for OMG, because they've been very successful within their league. They've played it the same style over and over, and they've been successful in doing so. Play the same champions over and over, and once you play like your favorite champions and your favorite style, and you just get absolutely demolished by an opposing team, and you then have to go win 3 games in a row, it's going to be very rough to stay mentally stable on that one.
Yeah, I'm really glad you put that, because that is the closing thoughts of this. SKT in Game 1 gave OMG a lot of their favorite picks and beat them. Now they picked a comp with a little bit of fun with the Zilean and still beat OMG. SKT had all the tools they needed to win, and we'll see if they can keep channeling that. We do need to progress with the show, so what that means is now time to take the pulse of the Twitter sphere. So to remind you guys, earlier in the broadcast we asked you, what has been your favorite moment from the All-Star Paris 2014? We've got a ton of great responses, so it is with the utmost effort that we were able to whittle it down. We've got a few videos in the background as well. So up first, this comes to us from @DPaulus20. He says, the Mad Lift Dream Lane. Everything about it, right down to the awkward bromance back hug. Deficio, what was your take on the double life combo?
I mean, it's young love. It is beautiful to watch. Double lift, a bit fangirlish, very, very touchy on to Mad Life here, but playing together, it was like, yeah, for the first 5 minutes, we would lane together. The mid life would be like, I'm actually not even going to stay here, and start roaming around and making plays, and Doublelift was just stuck in the bottom lane. However, it was cute to see.
Yeah, it's forbidden love, unfortunately. Rush Hour, unhappy with that one. Next one from @eVizGamer. My favorite moment is when we saw original Fnatic picks and SKT T1K using the team comp and all of their own skins. I'm going to answer this one because I loved that. I thought it was great seeing a team using the composition that helped them win the Season 3 World Champions and Signature Champions, no less.
Also interesting how that composition has completely, well, not completely, but partially fallen off, to indicate like how the meta game is shifting right now. Some of these picks are just no longer as viable.
Well, they still won with it, so
because
SKT. All right. Next one, @iPete93. Favorite moment was watching Messiah and Toys duke it out for one final time. Crepper, you've actually played against some of these guys.
Yeah, when we were in the CLGU prime of our years, we were not in CLG prime. We played against WE with Messiah. We actually spent a week living in the Taipei Assassin's house over in Taiwan. We lived there like with all the members, including Toys. So that was a really fun experience to see both these like familiar faces back. And I really like that their respective teams, Fire and Ice, allowed them to go mid lane one more time for themselves and for the fans. It was a nice gesture, and I think everybody really enjoyed that match.
I completely agree. Next one comes to us from @JKARGIC. The amazing crowd cheering for almost every great play, regardless of team. Every tournament needs guys like these because what is your profession? I love the screams, guys.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm completely in love with this crowd. I wish I could get out there and interact with all you guys because it's super wonderful. So, unfortunately, all I can say is je vous aime, but keep being wonderful, guys.
I agree, I guess. Next one from @RezaMD. Seeing how happy Cloud9 were to get crushed by SKT T1K was awesome. It shows just how much they appreciate good competition. And Monty, not only did Cloud9 appreciate it, Link himself was on there. I'm sure he's got some valuable experience as well.
Of course. I mean, if you're Cloud9 going into this competition, first off, I think they performed very admirably given the circumstances that they faced here, and they performed better than, honestly, I expected them to do. And that was, I think, really good sign for the NA scene. But if you're Cloud9, if you've been so dominant in North America, how do you get to that next level? How do you reach the next, growth in your team's strategy and your team's play? And the only way to do that is to play against teams that are better than you. And so I think for a lot of the members of Cloud9, this was great because you can learn so much from not only the games that we saw on stage, but from all the scrims that happened as well, talking to the other players. They are coming back with a wealth of knowledge.
Well, we'll see how they can implement that. I believe the final tweet comes to us from @Shronyboy. He says, seeing Froggen on Anivia once again and totally rocking the show brought back so many memories. I think it was awesome. It was great seeing Froggen. Went unkilled, got 20 stacks on that Soul Stealer. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for those responses. It is not too late to join the conversation. So send your thoughts to us @LOL Esports and use the hashtag All-Star. Coming up, we do have Game 3 of our All-Star Finals between SKT, T1K, and OMG, possibly the last game. But first, all week we've been asking you how you're watching All-Star Paris. And one of our first photos today comes from the champs at the University at Minnesota. Dolo, I think that's how to say it. Our next one is from a viewing party at Indiana Tech. Their motto, I believe, is live, learn, and gank. An awesome motto, guys. You can share how you're watching all of the action out of Paris by tweeting your pictures to us @LOL Esports. Use that hashtag All-Star. Stay right with us, guys. We'll be right back.
In comes Peggy jumping in there. Zillion will regenerate as he's saying, coming in towards him. Peggy gets taken down a second time. Impact the Horde in. He's going to go down. Just like game one, this is a big difference. Oh, this is going to be a multi-kill right now. Hanging on, the life steal going to take it down. Gets himself a double. Faker Sun comes back around on towards him. Going gets locked up. It's another kill. Faker on towards Sun. Red card pulled out. Gets onto Alan. He's going for another. Can he get the triple? Oh, the red not enough. He thought he stole it. And it's going to be a clock for Impact.
Rip him to pieces. Going tries to get in as well, but they're just going to be chased down here. It's Faker that's doing all the damage at the backside. There's a double kill for Trundle, and now they're going to collapse in onto the Shyvana. He is the last man standing here for OMG. There is the ace.